This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Hello and welcome to Superfans, everybody. This is your Chicago podcast for everything Chicago sports. We cover the Bears, the Bulls, the Cubs, the Sox. Today we have a great episode for you. It is going to be packed because we are right around the All-Star break, the trade deadline in the NBA. All that stuff's going down. And on top of that, we also have some juicy Bears quarterback rumor mill shit because let's be honest, as a Bears fan, that's all we've been doing for the last 3 months. That's all we're going to keep doing for the next 4 months is talking about other quarterbacks that we could have on this Bears team. But to get things started, we are going to go into the hey, how come the Bulls didn't do anything during this this trade deadline? Seems like our team could have been ripe for the picking to flip some guys, make some moves, but instead we stood pat because really believe in our guys and the guys that got us here. And then we're just going to be greedy and talk about the All-Star game because it is in Chicago and it's Chicago podcast, so we can make that work. But sitting across me, the guy I've ignored so far, the original, the original man-child himself. That's a horrible intro. The original man-child himself, Ricky Widmer.
What's up? I was waiting to see how long
my
it was
brain
coming in.
is like cobwebby over here.
I'm sitting here, and I will not lie.
Yeah.
It was bugging me.
Yeah.
I was like, he has not introduced me. This is I'm like, he's going to forget. I had no faith in you, Dave.
I'm not going to forget.
And then it's like, okay, I did something that is hard for me. I sat here and let you do your thing.
Yeah.
I
was going to get there.
I was just like, okay, let's see how this one plays out.
Sometimes
Let's
Sean just steals my intro from me, and I got no problem with that.
Or Sean will, hey, Ricky, how about this? And Sean answers. That happens, too. That was a fun one from last week.
That's okay. I try to throw questions around. I'm not the host on that other show.
We love you, Sean. We
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes. Our first topic today is one I'm super excited to shit on. Honestly, I could go for some food. I ate a burrito though a little bit ago, so I'm not super hungry right now. But you still on the appetizers,
dude? Those fucking so the corn.
We'll get to the Bulls in a minute.
The corn dogs are losing their hype.
Yeah,
because I think I'm overdoing it on the corn dogs. But those mac and cheese nibblers.
The mac and cheese bugs.
Those things, I fucking like those.
The word nibblers bugs me from you. I don't know why, but it's unsettling.
Why?
It's unsettling.
Mac and cheese nibblers.
Nope.
But I mean,
nope.
they're like triangles, and they're just so good. Like those, I could eat a million. And it's bad news that at first I was good. I was like, okay, like a small is fine because I thought that's all they had.
Then you found out there's a large.
Then the lady asked, she's like, because I've gone the last not 3 weeks consecutively, but I've been here 3 times in the matter of 2 months since they've come out.
Yeah.
And the lady recognized me already, and she goes, you do know they come in a sack, right? And I went, let's get a sack of those. Let's get the sack arena.
How big is a sack?
I don't know, but it's bigger than a fucking small.
Were you ordering 3 smalls or something?
No, I was ordering one small each. One small each. And then a sack of fries.
Oh, okay.
But now I go small fries, sack of nibblers.
Still,
because that's what I like.
To say
their
that.
fries aren't really good.
No,
their fries aren't great. But I don't like that
go with
style
the chicken
of
rings.
fries.
Chicken rings are the fucking money.
Yeah, but
they're so good.
The nibblers, they fill me up. I'm just gonna keep saying it because of how much it annoys Dave.
I'm gonna try not to be Sean and hit this fucking mute button over here and drop your audio.
Oh.
All right, if you guys have made it through that 5-minute talk about appetizers and
food.
White Castle,
we love food.
Bulls talk is actually happening now. So Chicago Bulls this season has been a disappointment. It's been nothing but the same.
That's an understatement.
Well, it's been nothing but the same. It's we have a bunch of young, talented players who can't stay healthy, who can't get on the court together, and we have a coach who has deficiencies when it comes to the offensive system, game plan, working with players, developing players, getting along with players. Perhaps the word analytics gets thrown around and he just kind of looks confused. He's good at coaching defense, though. But outside of that, he really doesn't seem to have much benefit to this team. Ricky, when you think about, I want to ask this question first. Yeah. Did you watch the John Paxson presser?
I did not watch it, but I've read the clip. I've read the transcript from it. Yeah.
Okay. it's not good.
No.
And the confidence was not there. And the fact that, at the same time that news was coming out about John Paxson talking about, we really haven't figured out what we've got yet. We need to see them all play together. Coming up in the beginning of March, we're going to get to see them all back on the court healthy again. And it's just, we haven't seen anything yet. And his confidence in the unknown, and these guys have been injured over and over and over, and this isn't another problem. On the other side, we see Lauri Markkanen unconfirmed comments about him wanting out and him not going to re-sign with the Bulls, and you start to get a little nervous. Ricky, I want to hear what you think about this whole bundle of the mid-season passing and the Bulls staying pat.
Well, the thing that I heard, and it was, I was listening to Sean Will Be Happy, 670 The Score.
Yeah.
And it was Danny Parkins, I think McNeil and Parkins. I don't listen to the show, but I listened to this clip because I clicked on the article from Google. Mm-hmm. And he made a point that I didn't think about, where he said, think about the teams that were also bad when the Bulls started this rebuild. And from when I think about that, the rebuild officially started when Butler got traded.
Yeah. Because
then we got Zach, then we got Lowry, then we got Chris Dunn.
Yep.
Yes, you can technically say the year before that was really the start. Like, we thought it was going to be the start of the rebuild, but then we signed Rondo, D Wade, and we ran it we ran the old man crew. So I don't really start that as the rebuild the year after that. I agree with you. So it'd be the 2017-2018 season.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the teams that were at the bottom. In the East, it really hasn't changed a lot. Like, the only team that is now different is the Magic. The Magic were a team where they were 25-57. Yep. Now they're in the playoffs. The Hawks still suck. Brooklyn's only better because they got Kevin Durant. Like, I'm not going to give them a golden medal for scouting and stuff. Like,
Brooklyn went to the playoffs without Kevin Durant.
No. But I'm saying, like, right now...
No, give them the credit for last year.
The whole reason why...
They went to the playoffs without having a top pick. They mortgaged their future to the Celtics and made it to the playoffs.
They got the most out of Dinwiddie, so maybe you're right. I should give them more credit.
Absolutely.
The Knicks are worse than they were.
Yeah.
Hornets are around the same. Pistons are about the same. But it's the fucking West where everything gets you so pissed off.
Yep.
The Clippers were 42-40. They're at the top now. You've got the Lakers were 35-47. Yeah, I know they got LeBron, they got AD, that helps. Same thing with the Lakers. They get Kawhi, they get Paul George, shit like that helps. The whole debate of do free agents want to come to Chicago, because Parkins brought this up when talking about Chicago or Miami.
Yeah.
He's like, Miami will always win because of one thing we can't change. We're not Miami. Because the weather plays a part of it. The weather and the state tax play a part of it. But he goes, the other thing that they have is what I said first when I was listening to it. They got Pat Riley.
That front office.
Pat Riley can just lay the rings on the table and go, look at these. I can make you one of these if you buy in. But like the Lakers are up there. Dallas was 24-58. They go out and draft Luka Doncic. They go and trade for KP. They're now at the top of the West. The Memphis Grizzlies.
The Memphis Grizzlies.
22-60. They look like a good team. And I know...
No, they don't look like a good team. They're a playoff team in the West.
And they've got the little bit of like, I don't hate Kobe White, but I would love if we had John Morant. Like,
it's not even close how much better
Kobe White.
Or John Morant is than Kobe
I'm not mad we have Kobe White, but I would love John Morant instead. And then the Phoenix Suns were 21-61, and they're even doing better, a lot better than where they were 2 years ago. Yeah. But where are we? Yeah, you can look at it and say we are 27-55 then. Are we any better than where we were in the 2017?
The 7th overall pick in the draft good again?
Probably.
4 years in a row?
And the thing and this kind of brings me into the trade deadline stuff. Do you know the last... I'm going to say two-part question. First off, do you remember what season was the last season we made a move at all at the deadline? That's number one.
Deadline move.
Like, at all. Like, yes, they were little, like, popcorns.
Sprinklings?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
What season that was.
I'm going back. I don't know.
So
I'm blank. I'm genuinely blanking.
I'll give you some names.
Was it the Rondo year?
It was about the beginning of the rebuild, 2017, 2018. The draft rights to Milovan Rakovic.
Well, I mean, the Jabari Parker deal. I know the Jabari Parker Bobby Portis. Was that deadline?
No, that was offseason.
Really?
Uh-huh.
No, it wasn't. That happened during the season because we got Otto Porter for the trade deadline.
I'm saying...
And he played throughout the rest of the year.
Let's see. Otto...
That was literally last year.
Because I
don't know why that took me so long to figure out. But yeah, that was... see, Sam's got me back. Yeah. That was last season.
Yeah, but it wasn't like... I'm saying like at the deadline.
It was...
We traded for him... Let's see. Yeah, that's weird. It says February 6th. Then why is that not showing up here?
I don't know.
The years that it has here for trade deadline history is 2017, 2018. We did nothing. We got Milovan Rakovic in exchange for Noah Vonleh and cash.
Yep.
We waived Willie Reed.
Yep.
And then Jameer Nelson we acquired from the Pistons in exchange for Willie Reed after we waived him.
That's great.
The last... in my mind, significant trade that we made at the deadline before Otto Porter last year was we gave up Taj Gibson, Dougie McDermott, a second-round pick in 2018.
Oh, that was the awful deal.
To the Oklahoma City Thunder for Joffrey Levine, Anthony Morrow, and our boy Cam Payne. Can't have Cam Payne in a Bulls jersey.
Somehow we had to give up a second when we're getting worse players.
And then before that...
You explain it to me.
This website, Real GM, has listed 2015, 2016 we made moves. Before that, 2009, 2010. So the Bulls are a team that
Nico got moved deadline too, I think. Under
Paxton and Gar Forman, we're not a big, like, hey, let's shake things up at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, no. If we've moved Nico... Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker, all three of them got moved.
No, but I'm saying like
deadlines. I think it was before deadline.
But we're not a team that every single deadline we're trying to make a move.
But like it's the deadline is situational.
Think about the Paul Gasol year, and that's what I go back to is that Paul Gasol year of like, hey, let's go ahead and move him. He's gonna walk. Let's get something, and the deadline passed.
Right.
And it's like, where was a trade? Like, that is what I see. That's a microcosm, but that's what I see this Bulls front office is they will sit on their hands at the deadline rather than try to go out there and find a move, unless a move like Otto Porter falls into their laps like last year.
I think it's year by year situational. You know, there's buyers and sellers every trade deadline. There's teams with cap room, and there's the salary cap for the next season and the free agents to consider. And like you said, Chicago is never going to be a big free agent market city, even though we're the third largest city in the U.S., which is insane to think about, that we can't draw people here. They don't want to come, to this area.
Well, when most of your season is spent
during the winter,
this weather,
and it's shit.
Like, I don't blame you.
I agree. My thought is just we're a team that has to bring people in by either overpaying them or trading for them or drafting them, because free agency is not really where it's going to come from because people don't want to play here.
Yeah.
And we don't have a front office that's good. We don't have a coach that people want to play for. So you really don't want to give people a choice to come to Chicago or not. You have to go out and get them to Chicago. That's what I'm thinking. And this season, we are in a position where the salary... We've got a ton of young guys. We've got one good veteran on our team in Thad Young. Satoransky's had mixed results this year, so I don't know if any team would really pay up for him. But Thad Young plus any number of players on our team.
There were teams that were looking at Denzel. Apparently, like Denzel could have been traded. And I'm not saying that there was a blockbuster trade out there for us. Traded. I don't do that. Would you have traded Zach at the deadline
if the value was there?
Yeah, but
I'm not doing an Andre Drummond deal for him, but
also thanks Jake for resubbing.
Oh shit, I should resub.
Yeah. Jake also says TJ McConnell over Ryan Archie Diaka. Nobody knows how to spell it.
I know exactly how to spell it. That was a smooth roll.
But I look at this front office, and this year you're right. Everything is situational, but the situation for this year,
our team sucks.
We could have got
because we're all hurt,
but. Trading Denzel, how does keeping him help us?
It doesn't, because Jim Boylan hates him.
Exactly. So I would trade him to, even if I get a second-round pick or seconds for him. I'd be happy to try to flip that into
Soapy, I'm just saying the Drummond trade itself, the value for Drummond trade was awful, and I wouldn't have done that for Zach LaVine.
Well, like, nobody wanted to give up a first for him.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the Pistons wanted. Exactly. Nobody wanted to do it.
Instead, you got trash on trash. It's fine.
Zach LaVine, a lot of people, it seems like, are becoming split on Zach.
He's a good scorer, but he's not a winning basketball player.
Where some people want to trade him, other people, and this is the camp I'm in, that's like, don't give up on him yet. He's not the problem with this team.
Right. It's just, can you win with him on your team? Mm-hmm. And you need to do something similar to what the Suns did and gain a true pass-first point guard to pair next to him. Mm-hmm. We took a half step in that direction. We went from Chris Dunn to Satoransky. We're not quite to the same realm as a Ricky Rubio or a true point guard who can facilitate at a high level. So Zach LaVine is still ending up doing too much, which leads to problems, which leads to our offense having issues because we don't have a head coach who can step in and stop them and put them on the right track. So, sorry, that was a little mini downfall. Point being that I'm not opposed to keeping Zach LaVine. I just think that Zach needs to find the right matches on the team in order to win around him, because there's just guys in the NBA who you can't win with when they are your best guy, and he's one of them. So
you're saying Zach is not?
I'm saying he's one of them.
Can't be the number. It's the same debate that Sean and I had years ago about Jimmy Butler.
Correct.
Where Sean said he can't be the number one, and I said he can be the number one, and he's not the problem. And what's Jimmy proven right now? That he wasn't the problem.
Not the problem, but he also probably can't be number one. We'll see. I don't know. I love Jimmy Butler.
Look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia's not.
Philadelphia's shit, and we know that.
I mean, he's the number one on Miami.
Right.
And they're a legit threat in my mind.
Right.
Like, I think he can be.
They're a legit threat.
You got to have.
They're planning for 2021 when they get Giannis and someone else to go for it. And at that point, Jimmy will not be your number one. That's the Pat Riley.
If anyone gets Giannis. Unless LeBron's on that team or
Agreed.
Kawhi.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what the Miami Heat set themselves up for in 2021 with all their trade deadline moves. They shifted contracts. And what did the Bulls do with their contracts? Nothing.
Yeah, and that's what infuriates me. We did nothing. We did this, Dave.
Right.
We sat on our hands and
I love it.
Or we did this. We fucking twiddled our fingers expecting something to happen.
So here's the question, because we've been kind of at the same point for a little bit now. When you think about this team moving forward and the contracts that will be coming up soon, I do want to know, what is the plan with Lauri Markkanen? What is the plan with Otto Porter? What is the plan when it comes to any other pieces on this team who you really want to keep around? Because outside of Zach LaVine and Kobe White, do you see anybody who is a long-term Bull as we move forward? Because Lowry's been hurt every year. Every single year he's missed time. Otto Porter played great in 20 games last year, and then he got hurt after 5 this year. So we don't know what he's going to be as he comes back.
Yeah.
And I think the next week or two.
Wendell
is a second-year player who we're hoping
was he hurt last year?
He missed time. Yes.
Yeah, and he's missing time again.
That's the problem. Our core. Our air quotes core has only had a handful of games together when they're all healthy. So I understand the frustration and we can afford to wait. But as you wait, everybody else in the league is passing you by.
Exactly.
Because they have young talent that is playing. They have veterans who are playing and winning them games. And we are just sitting here with a roster that is disappointing. And we should be excited because we're a young team. By age, I think we're in like the 5 youngest teams in the NBA. We were at least prior to the trade deadline. I'm sure that shifted around a lot of ages for teams like Memphis, where they got rid of some older guys and brought in Justice Winslow. But my whole, as I check comments, Sophie, riding the Grizzlies bandwagon. He can't jump. I love the Grizzlies. They're my team of the West. It's fair though, because I love John Morant, and we knew that going into that draft. But like that's what frustrates me. We have potential, but it's not on the court, so you can't see it. So we lose games. We're not doing anything about it. We have a head coach who no one wants. We're not firing him. We have a front office who won't make moves. So like, what do you do contract-wise with these young guys?
Well, it's not just like the contracts to me. It's also one thing I think about, and this is not a deadline thing. This is a front office thing, but it goes into trades. Like, for example, I'm going to go back to Dallas, a team that was bad 2 years ago that's now good. In the 2018 draft, they said, hey, let's make a deal. Let's move up 2 spots because there's this kid we want. And all they had to give up to move up 2 spots was basically swap picks.
Yeah.
And then, hey, we're going to give you a protected first-round pick. Mm-hmm. And for them, it's like we're giving up that pick because with this kid that we're getting, we're expecting to be good. Why can't, like, I know the 2018 draft, that's the Luka draft.
Yeah, it's legendary
Wendell,
already.
I'm not mad that we got Wendell. Like, Wendell's a good player.
He's a high-floor player.
But, like, why couldn't we make a trade where it was, I could even see us going, and yet again, it's all situational. Who knows if the Grizzlies would want to do this, but at least open the floor for, hey, Memphis, let's go ahead, swap picks. You get the 7th, we'll get the 4th. We'll give you our pick next year. Protected, not protected, however you want to look at it, because it's moving up 3 spots instead of 2 spots, whatever you want. Why didn't we even try to do that? To try to get someone like, because in my mind, Trae Young is going to be a better pro than Wendell. Mm-hmm. The floor for Trae Young is higher than Wendell Carter. Even like Jaren Jackson, like move up for somebody is what I'm saying. Like if we get, it's okay to get the 7th pick. If you're gonna like sooner or later, this front office has to be like, let's make a move. We got to take a risk because if you don't take a risk and you're conservative, like Sam has said in Twitch chat, we're not gonna do anything. It's gonna be the same stuff over and over and over, and Bulls fans are just going to want to blow their brains out. Because eventually, it gets upsetting watching this team day in and day out, and then you ask Jim Boylan a question about, hey, Jim, what do you need to do to fix the three-point shooting? Well, you know, it's really practice. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. I don't want to ask for a specific and get a generality. That's not what I want. And that's all I'm getting from this front office. Yeah. That's all I'm getting from this coach. Whenever we ask a question, it's all generalities. It's all half the time I figured none of the people in that front office or coaching staff, I shouldn't say coaching staff, it's mostly Jim Boylan, don't know what they're doing. And eventually we're going to have to take a risk. But it's when are we going to take that risk? Yeah. Right now it's never. In my mind, never. I'm not expecting this front office to take a risk.
Right. Which, again, if that's the case, this upcoming draft class, supposedly one of the weakest ones we've seen in years. So, you know, I'm expecting Jim Boylan to go for gold then, right? This will be the year we trade up.
Well, is it Jim Boylan's decision or would it be Paxson's decision?
I mean, it's Paxson's decision, but I assume Boylan has a hand in things because, you know, we've got all the faith in the fucking world.
Like right now we're at 8. If the draft was today, we would be 8.
Yeah. My dream scenario is we get Killian Hayes.
Yeah,
at 8? I mean, if he's there, sure.
And I know how Sean hates when I use Tankathon, but I'm going to do it anyways. They have Killian Hayes at 5 to the Knicks.
Yep.
They have us with Nico Mannion, which I wouldn't hate.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like that's going to be the thing. If point guard's the one we're going to get, then it's either going to be, if we're at 8, we might get either the scraps or, hey, let's go ahead and make a deal with the Hornets, make a deal with the Knicks to try to get up and get a point guard that we want.
We just talked about what a point guard can do for a young franchise and say, hey, John Morant, what did you do to the Grizzlies? Hey, Trae Young, what did you do for the Hawks? Like, what are the top guards doing? I mean, unfortunately, the Cleveland Cavaliers have, dug that well twice in a row and struck something. But they were in a whole different situation.
Point guards who can pass the ball.
Turns out that's a benefit.
Trae and Ja both pass. Colin Sexton does not.
Darius Garland does not.
Colin Sexton's used to playing 5-on-3 basketball.
I think at this point, Andre Drummond leads the Cavs active players and assists, right? Mm-hmm. He's got to for the season. Mm-hmm. That's terrifying. It'll be interesting. But I don't know. It's just it's frustrating to see other teams go for that strategy. And we took trying to think back after the Jimmy trade, we drafted Lauri Markkanen, then we got Hutch and Kobe White and Wendell Carter. So any of those guys having long-term future with the Bulls? whose contracts are we going to extend?
Right now, like how I would treat the Bulls is...
No, I'm saying those 4 guys. How are we extending all those guys' contracts?
Kobe and Wendell. Those are the only 2 out of those that...
So Lowry, you think he's got to get traded during the next offseason and half season? Depends.
Do we keep Boylan this offseason or do we fire him? That plays into it. Because if we're keeping Boylan, Lowry Markkanen is not going to flourish under Jim Boylan. It isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But if we fire Jim Boylan, like, that's the thing that always pisses me off when, like, we talk about Lowry and we talk about the struggles. First off, I do believe he was playing hurt most of the season.
Yeah.
Which
looks like potentially
you're not gonna play up to your full potential when you're playing through an injury. But also I don't think Jim Boylan knows how to use him. And like you said, Boylan knows how to coach defense.
Correct.
That's why Chris Dunn, before he got hurt, was having one of the best defensive seasons for the Bulls because Jim Boylan actually knows how to coach defense.
In the month of December, I think we were the number 2 defense in the NBA.
Which is good, but that
Speaks
doesn't
a lot
mean
to it.
we're going to win games if we can't score the basketball.
Correct, because we have no offensive system.
Exactly. And I mean, to me, how I would look at this team, if Boylan is the coach next year, which I pray to God he's not. I've never wished for a guy to lose his job more than Jim Boylan, and I feel bad because I know he's got a family, but he's just not the fit here in Chicago. The only 3 guys that are untouchables to me are Zach, Kobe, and Wendell. Everyone else, if the deal is right, I'd push the button in a heartbeat.
Interesting. And that's the question. The deal is right, because we heard some comments about Thad Young not being moved, saying, I don't feel like we're in the business to just give away somebody for nothing, which means people asked about Thad Young, and apparently whatever the deal on the table was, we're overvaluing him because we've got contract control on him, which is unfortunate because he's another guy who is unhappy playing in Chicago. And I really wish that there was something we could do. Thank you, Retro, for the resub. I really wish there was something we could do when it comes to that because, like, look, he's not happy. It seems like a good move. He's someone who has an in-demand skill set who top teams want. And, like, if we were able to get, what was the deal the Knicks got for Marooks? It was Mo Harkless, one other player, and then a first. I got a brush up my trades yesterday. Twitch chat, if you know, drop it in there as well.
So the trade was the Morris and Isaiah Thomas to the Clippers, Jerome Robinson to the Wizards. Knicks will receive Harkless and a 2020 first. Yeah. And then the Knicks also received the right to swap first-round picks in 2021 with the Clippers and a second-rounder via Detroit from Washington. So really they got a first-round pick this year and then the right to swap next year and a second next year for it with Mo Harkless for Marooks.
Now, I know Thad Young would have been cheaper than that, but I think it would have brought back something, whether it was just a direct Jerome Robinson toss-in or a second.
I would have been happy with Robinson in the second. I think that's what we talked about.
Mo Harkless, Jerome Robinson in the second.
I think that's what we talked about when we mentioned where Thad Young could go. Is he going to be a Clipper?
Yeah.
Because I know that some people are going to say, oh, but it's a second-round pick. No one pans out from the second round. Yeah, but if you can hit on the second-round pick, some of those guys.
And the value for it, too.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a little frustrating. I really do wonder why. I don't know. It just seems like that was a no-brainer to move on from him because, again, we know the Clippers were interested. We know the Lakers had interest. We know multiple teams in the playoffs or going for the playoffs were looking for it. And yet we were just like, nah, we're good. We're good. I just really want to move on from so many pieces on this team. I think that's my frustration, is the fact that we're just staying pat and we're not doing anything about it. So, Ricky, going forward, since we are pat, what outlook do you think we should have for the rest of the season as Bulls fans? Should we just give up, drink the Kool-Aid, and be like, you know what? When Otto Porter, Lowry Markkanen, Wendell Carter, Zach LaVine are all back together, like, we got 20 games to do some damage. Let's see how they can go. If we can play them all 30-plus minutes a night and just go with it. Like, should we have a positive outlook about that? Because Otto Porter, a great shooter, good defender. Lauri Markkanen, above average shooter for a big man. Wendell Carter, he's baby Al Horford out there. Like, I know there should be reason to have hope right now, but as a Bulls fan, I'm nothing but pissed. So can you walk me closer to the bright and sunny, or should we just be upset right now and not get over it?
I'm pushing the other way, Dave. We're going to the darkness. Like, okay. I am already there, though. Like, I am already in the, like, if I could relate, and I'm going to go really dark with this analogy, so just prepare for it. If my sadness watching the Bulls was a vice, I would have severe alcoholism. That's what this team would do to me, because like I am at the point where it's just not even fun watching games anymore, because I just watch and I get upset. Yeah. And my blood pressure boils. You guys didn't know,
Ricky's watch along for the Bulls, his game reviews.
I feel
stopped
bad.
because
I feel bad. I feel bad, but it was like, it's one of those things where I started it because I watched Steve Dangle, and his channel, and I've watched him for a couple of years. I'm not even a Maple Leafs fan, but like I was enthralled with his videos, and I thought they were fun. I'm like, you know what? I would love to do that for the Bulls, but I picked it like 3 years too late. Like I had the idea 3 years ago. I didn't execute on it until we were bad, to where it would be different if I was a drinker. Because if I was a drinker, I could be like Ricky, drinking during the video.
You know the guy to call them.
Right? I am not giving you alcoholism, Dave, because that's where this would lead me if I was a drinker.
I walked away from that path. World of Warcraft took me down a dark road with alcoholism. I got
not the Old
again.
Town road, the Dark Town road. And it leads you right into the watch-alongs after dark.
And that's the thing. Like I feel like I could have been there for you for these Bulls game wrap-ups, which I just respect the hell out of the crew that does the post-game for the Bulls.
The Outsiders.
The Outsiders. I watch them.
They're also getting paid a lot more to do it, but hey.
They're getting paid, period, to do it, which is a big difference. But kudos to them for being there every game and having something to say, because I respect that. I could not do that sober. I am with you, Ricky. I think watching this season has been rough, but it's tough. It's tough. I do want to hold out hope, though. Like I said, everybody's gonna be healthy. We're gonna get all their boo boos fixed. Duct tape everybody back together, good as new. And I wonder if there's a chance that Otto Porter re-signs with the Bulls for a long-term deal. Do you think that there's any chance that we dangle out there like a 4-year, maybe a 5-year deal for Otto Porter? He's good. This was his first major injury, I think. I'm a Basketball Reference that now.
Yet again, it comes down to the fact of, for me, I'm at the point, and I know that it might be unfair to be like this, but I'm at the point to where the players are not the problem. Yeah. B, if Boylen's here, it ain't going to get better. Like, I would say we could have LeBron James on this team and still wouldn't win a championship if Boylen's the head coach.
Don't say blasphemous things.
Jim Boylen would be the David Blatt.
David Blatt wasn't a bad head coach, you motherfucker.
No, I'm saying like he'd be the coach that we would have to fire because we would have
because LeBron James refuses to work with him.
Exactly.
Okay. I thought you were trying to say Dave Blatt's a bad coach, and I'm like, no, Dave Blatt was a great coach.
He did call a timeout when he didn't have any, but because
no one fucking called it.
Fucking pissing me off.
And we should have won the game.
Should have won a championship. Should have won a lot of things.
Somehow it always rises back to.
Well, you bring up David Blatt.
But David Blatt getting fired was what brought you, me, and Sean together. And we have to be eternally thankful for episode 1.
It is.
Of the trifecta.
Of the trifecta.
The triumvirate. Roman.
We wouldn't be doing this today if it wasn't for David Blatt. So thank you, David Blatt, for getting fired.
Shout out.
You died for our sins that we do every time. So Retro brings up Fizdale, and I want to bring this up only because
he's worse.
Well, I agree with Sam, because Sam had brought this up in the watch-alongs and stuff, where I rather have Fizdale as a head coach of this team than Jim Boylen. I feel like the team would have more direction under Fizdale than Jim Boylen.
Do you see where my hand's floating?
Just because you disagree with talk to me, Dave.
Right
don't
above
just
the mute button.
Yeah, don't pull that Sean thing. Have a conversation with me. Is Jim Boylan better than David Fizdale, and why?
Jim Boylan is David Fizdale without charisma. Mm-hmm. Jim Boylan is the excrement at the bottom of David Fizdale. He's a great defensive coach. That is what they have in common. Mm-hmm. But that's where it stops. David Fizdale was respected by players. David Fizdale was loved by players even. His time in Miami was impactful. It brought a reputation around the league. He has a fun catchphrase from his times with the Grizzlies. Take that for data.
Yeah.
He is a public figure where Jim Boylan is a goddamn thumb. There is nothing to love about him. Mm-hmm. David Fizdale at least thinks like he wants to be new and with, any sense of we're going to get this type of play out of these guys, and I'm going to take the hard road. I'm going to bench players. I'm going to do this shit. Jim Boylan had one move where he had spine, and he benched Zach LaVine for 4 minutes? That was about it. Now, do I think that...
He benched Zach LaVine, and everyone's like, why are you benching Zach LaVine?
Yeah,
come on.
Because Zach LaVine didn't hustle. You got to hustle. You got to earn it.
I'll be honest, if I was playing on this team, I wouldn't even want to fucking hustle. You got to give the players a reason to hustle, because when you lose day in and day out, you're losing.
Yeah, it's the culture you're building.
It takes a harp on you.
I do.
To where it's
I do understand.
To where I wouldn't be surprised if some of these Bulls players, Lowry's probably there at this point, where it's you wake up in the morning and it's just do I want to be here anymore? It's kind of I think of the whole Charles Woodson thing. When he said he knew the exact point he was going to retire.
Yeah.
He said it was his last season. They were in Detroit for a Week 8 game. He got up, looked out at the snowy Detroit city, and he was just I
don't want to do it.
I didn't want to go play today.
Yeah.
He's right from then, I knew I was done. So I wouldn't be surprised if, I'm not saying the retirement thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the players on this team are they wake up and it's fuck, I got to go to practice today. I got to deal with Jim Boylan. I don't want to fucking do this, but I can't because I'm because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want, I still don't want to hurt the play. All of this is probably going on in their head. And I think that David Fizdale gets a bad rap because he had a good first season with Memphis. They made the playoffs. They were the third team in the division. They were a 43-win team. Yes, they lost in the first round. They went 6 games. Who did they play? Was that a Spurs series in 2017? They got bounced by the Spurs in 6 games that year. They were the 7th seed. Spurs were the 2 seed. And then because Memphis basically had a situation where Gasol threw a hissy fit, and they had to choose between Gasol and Fizdale. That was the big thing. Who are they going to choose? They're going to trademark Gasol? They're going to fire David Fizdale. And after, 19 games, they fired David Fizdale that second year, to where I was even shocked. I'm they made the playoffs last year. They were the 7th in the West. Why are they firing David Fizdale?
They fired Yeager, too.
Yeah, they fired Yeager. That's another thing of, why. But, Fizdale, it's why'd you do that? And the last 2 years, I feel the last 2 years for Fizdale, is it Fizdale? Is it more on Fizdale or more on New York?
Yep.
Because name the last guy who had success coaching the Knicks. You got to go back a while.
I mean, the Carmelo Anthony days, they did have a playoff appearance. So you will give them credit for that. I don't know. Define success is my thing because they made it to the playoffs with Carmelo Anthony. They weren't going to be world beaters, but they were a good team. Yeah,
Mike Woodson was the last time they made the playoffs. 17 games, so I will say Woodson got was the last guy to get the most out of the Knicks, and that was 2012-2014. Since then, it's been Derek Fisher, Kurt Rambis, Jeff Hornacek, David Fizdale, and now Mike, not that Mike Miller. That's
it's
who
almost
we're dealing with.
They have a front office issue. Which leads to them having issues with the roster they put together.
Which we have too.
Which Dave Fizdale can do more with good players. Jim Boylan might be able to do more with worse players. I think that might be what it comes down to. Dave Fizdale his contributions to defensive schemes on the Heat during the big 3 days were huge. And then his contributions to, guess what? He walked into the end of the grit and grind Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You think defense is something that he was able to work with there? That's what I'm saying. Like, he was set up for success because his team's roster led into what he, as a coach, believed in and what he taught and what he reinforced in them. And that lifestyle, that effort first kind of shit was what was there. He got put on the Knicks, and he got put on a team with 4 power forwards. Fuck, he's supposed to do? Like, he just juggled around with, like, 6 guys, in the front court, couldn't figure out what to do. The back court was a disaster. He just didn't have any answers. So, like, that's why I feel like Fizdale was a horrible fucking coach. He was the worst coach in the NBA this year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to defend the man.
This year.
But I'm just saying that, like, if you give him a roster of competent players, he perhaps wouldn't have looked so completely outmatched on the court and clueless at times. Jim Boylan has talent in front of him, it would seem, and doesn't know how to fucking use it. But he will get the guys to put in 110% work ethic. The guys who believe in him, like, that's why Jim Boylan screams college guy.
110% work ethic, or hey, I want to play good just to prove this fucking asshole wrong.
I don't know,
because I feel like half the time Zach balls out, it's because hey, fuck you, you asshole, like that kind of a thing.
I don't disagree that
and
spite
I pardon for the language, but that's what I would be saying if I was Zach.
Might play a factor in it, but like Jim Boylan seems like the college coach.
But we had one of those and we got rid of him.
No,
we weren't winning.
He wants to be the hard, old man.
Yeah.
All the kids are like, shit, this guy makes us work, but at the end of the day, we're better because of it.
But Roy Williams knows what he's doing, like, scheme wise too.
Well, he's struggling this year.
Yeah, this year.
All of a sudden, talent's gone. He's struggling. Yeah. Old man Roy's got problems.
I was gonna say kind of like the Roy Williams.
He's
almost
timed out,
like the Jim Boeheim almost. But Jim Boeheim actually has a defensive system. That's
what I'm saying. Like, there's some similarities there, and I just think that Jim Boylan is made to be an NBA assistant coach or a college coach.
Yeah.
As a head coach, he is a failure. Well, he does get guys to try hard. There's a breaking point. He's lost the locker room multiple times over. And because of that, we've heard comments about Lowry not wanting to be here, Thad Young wanting out, Zach LaVine saying it's the quietest locker room and bench he's ever been around. Like, he doesn't know what to do because no one talks. And because there's not a vocal leader there, him saying that means that he's not it. And that's the thing that hurts me more than him saying nobody else talks, is that he's not the guy talking either. And that's where I'm like, we need to get a leader on this team. We need to go get somebody who can be a voice, who can be a leader in the locker room and on the court. And that's why I'm ready to move on from most everyone on this roster. That's why I have no qualms with if they want to move Zach, if they want to move Lowry, if they want to move on from any of those guys. The only guys who, I'm with you, I would hold on to Wendell Carter and Kobe White because they're so young and have so much upside still that I don't think we've seen enough out of them. Lowry Markin could be great. He could be terrible. He's an above-average 7-footer, though, right now. That's all he is. He's an above-average shooter from the outside at his height. How valuable is that in the NBA right now? How valuable is your coach? He needs to find the scheme fit. You have to find the right coach to work with your team. Giannis wouldn't be Giannis if he didn't have the encouragement and the roster and everything around him that continued to build on him. He had the work ethic. He had the drive. He had all of those things. But if you don't build a system around him, you don't have a coach around him, if they don't have 6 guys who can shoot from 3, covering the entire arc while he's driving to the hoop, like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And I think that's the problem. We've got a bunch of pieces to a puzzle, but we don't have the guy to put them together. So that's all I can say.
The only thing that I have to say about the Zach leader one is an interesting one because I don't think we know the answer to that question fully.
How don't we?
And the reason why I say we don't know fully is because everyone put into the situation the Bulls are in would react differently. So just because Zach isn't the type of guy where it's like, hey guys, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. That's the type of player I was on a team. Like, I think back, I gotta go all the way back to junior high.
Yep.
But it's the dichotomy of, like, I was the player that when I played volleyball, someone made a mistake. Oh, it's okay, Henry. We'll get him on the next one. It's fine. But then there were other players who I had on that same team which were on the other side. Oh, you suck, da-da-da. Like,
putting people down.
Putting people down. Where maybe Zach's at the point where he's like, and this is, again, we don't know how this team is. We're not in the locker room.
Right, I'm just going off the comments that he's made publicly.
But I wouldn't be surprised if in that locker room, a lot of the guys are having the same thought of, like, does it even matter? Like, we can try to make the best of this, but we're not going to win with you as our head coach. Like, that's what I feel. I feel like most of the players, because Denzel is not happy. Lowry is now not happy. I mean, Kobe, I think, is not going to speak up because he's a rook.
Why can't rookies talk?
John
Morant's talking.
No, I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying
Doncic talked.
No. I'm
Trae Young talked.
Dave, I'm not saying
these are all guys drafted right around Kobe White.
I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying I don't think Kobe is going to speak up because he is a rookie. I'm not saying they can. I'm not saying Kobe shouldn't. So let's not put words in the mouth. I'm just saying I don't think he will because he is a rookie.
But that's the difference between an exceptional rookie and just another rookie.
But are we expecting Kobe White to be the leader of this team? Or is he supposed to be...
There's nothing saying he can't be.
Or is he supposed to be, like, it's fine
he's a kid who came on to the Bulls and lit the world on fire in Game 4 of the season when he was just stroking it from 3?
Yeah.
And that's the question.
And you may be right. We may not have this... Like, we may not have the leader on this team.
Yeah.
But I don't think we know that answer... Because Jim Boylan has killed every sense of hope in all of our players. To where I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a single player that doesn't even want to come into work every day. Because I'll be honest, if the fans feel it, the players are feeling it, and it sucks here in Chicago. It sucks being a Bulls fan. I don't think there's ever been. You know what? I'd rather go back to the post-Michael Jordan days than watch this season.
I don't know. That seems a bit extreme.
I would rather go back to those days than watch this one.
The Baby Bulls? The Elton Brand?
Because at least I knew we didn't have promise. We had, at least I knew that we weren't, we didn't have... Expectations. It was just, we're the Bulls.
If we didn't have expectations, we wouldn't be this upset this year.
Exactly. That's what's killing us, is the expectations are there. The expectations you and I had of us being a playoff team, we should be a 8th seed right now. We should. There's no reason why this team shouldn't be an 8th seed. The question is it the players? Is it the coach? I think it's more on the coaches than the players, even though both have... a say. It's not it's
Jake,
not just one-sided.
Other people had those expectations too.
No, Chicago did. But yet again, you can throw in of course, everyone's going to have positive expectations about their team.
Yeah.
Jake, you don't live in Chicago, so you wouldn't know.
Sure.
Any other things? I'm pretty much
I'm spent on the Bulls almost.
I'm just gonna keep keep going.
The only thing I got for you is from the comment section because
Yeah.
Of course Jake tossed out you guys can have Brett Brown in July. Would you take Brett Brown as the coach for the next Chicago Bulls coach?
Yeah, because he could be our Mark Jackson.
Oh, God damn it. I'm muting you. Moving on. No, I'm sorry.
He could be the guy that brings up this team and then we get our championship coach.
It's just gonna be a drinking game soon. I'm gonna have to find a way to smuggle in a flask in here, and every time Ricky drops a Mark Jackson.
Why would you have to smuggle it?
There's a reason. There's a reason. But yeah, no, it's
Retro also says who would be your choice. I'm thinking he means between Fizdale and Boylan. You talked about it, but I don't think you officially.
No, I don't want either one of them.
No, but if you had to choose one.
Nope, fire them all.
No, but if you had to choose
for
one.
this team, I would take. Oh God, I don't want to say it out loud.
Holy shit! What up, Jake? Wait, what?
Jake gifted a sub.
Jake gifted
to Mark Jackson.
Is there a Mark Jackson on Twitch?
I don't. Apparently.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Jake, for gifting a sub to Mark Jackson.
Someone let a shot right now, though. Oh my God, that was disgusting. That was absolutely disgusting.
He also gifted 5 emotes to 5 other people, so thank Jake for doing that. One being Retro.
Thank you, Jake.
Retro's got the love gift.
We got to work on our emote game. We got to add some shit to that.
If you want to know how to do that, you can take control of that, Dave.
I'll get right on that. I think if there's a coach
Jake, fuck Mark Jackson.
to aim at, it's the same thing that every previously successful team has done, which is you go look at the G League, you see who wins G League Coach of the Year, and you go sign that guy. And Mike Miller, not that Mike Miller, was the most recent success. But there's a guy who had the opportunity, and nobody gave him the chance, so he went down to college to coach at Vandy? No, where does Jerry Stackhouse coach?
Vandy.
It is Vandy, yeah. I was actually
He's
right.
coaching Scottie
Pippen's kid, yeah, which is really weird. Definitely not nearly as good as Scottie Pippen. Not even like a quarter as good, unfortunately.
How often is the kid
almost
as good?
never?
Yeah.
Except for Dell.
Yeah.
And Dell the second. But yeah, no, like Mark, I'm surprised that Jerry Stackhouse, basically being Gen 1 Zach LaVine, wouldn't make a great coach in Chicago. So I would try to pay him money to leave Vandy and come coach Chicago Bulls this year, or this upcoming season. That's my guy. I don't know. Twitch chat, you got any coaches you want to toss out?
Did you mention Yeager?
Sean always mentions Dave Yeager. Yeah. That's Sean's choice.
He would probably be the only other one I can think of.
Right, but how long would he last with the front office the way it stands?
I would assume in my perfect world,
he's a good coach.
All of them are getting swiped at the same time. I pray to God that Doug Collins gets his way and Paxson is gone and Foreman's gone and then Boylan's gone. We just purge everything and start from new. Just set the whole thing on fire and then start from new.
The comments are calling for a fucking wall.
Yeah, we build a fucking wall.
A Van Gundy rant.
I would take Stan Van or Jeff Van over Boylan.
I would take either Van Gundy. Is there a third Gundy?
I don't think there's a coach I wouldn't take over Boylan.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I would bring Thibodeau back.
How do you not bring up Mark Jackson? Get out of here.
Mark Jackson is a good coach.
No, please stop. He already has new Michael Jordan, so Phil will be ready. Jesus. I think we're going to wrap up on our Bulls.
Last thing about the Bulls I'll say.
Yeah.
Great tweet from Bulls Talk.
Yeah.
NBC Bulls Talk. They posted a picture of Zion and a picture of Adam Makoka from last night.
Yep.
And they're like, you tell us which rookie had the better night. Didn't see Zion score 15 points in 5 minutes.
True.
Makoka, 15 points, 5 minutes. Maybe he's the new future of the Bulls. Who knows?
I agree.
Maybe he's my wet boy tomorrow. Who knows?
Ooh, I got the news update to watch the Democratic candidates take the stage in New Hampshire.
What was trending today was hashtag Pete's Billionaires. Because apparently Pete Buttigieg has billionaires paying for his campaign.
He does.
Doug Collins, I don't think he gets the job coaching, but I think he
front office.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I'd be down for that.
Or even if he's an advisor to the position. I just think it all needs to be purged. Front office coach has to be done.
All right.